collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight, the home of unfiltered conversation. This is where real talk is what we do. I am none other than Donna Thompson.
And I'm Dr. Laxley Stephenson, and together we are your moderators. Donna, what's happening?
Happy Monday.
It is Monday, isn't it?
It is Monday.
Oh.
And what is happening? We're having wonky internet service.
That's okay. It's something I'm used to. I was just on this show last week. I was in Jamaica and talk about internet service. So here we go again. Things are repeating itself, right? So it's all good. We'll work through it.
Absolutely. We always do.
We always do. We'll make it happen. So what's going on? New week, weekend gone. What's going on with you?
New week, new possibilities, new things to work on.
New week, new possibilities, new things to work on. All right. So we are live. We are live in the Spotlight, a collision with purpose movement in the Spotlight, the home of real talk and filtered conversation. We have a special guest coming on in the second segment, but before we get to her, we have some stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So what do we have to talk about?
Okay, where do we start? So, of course, we've spoken about our colloquium that's coming up in February of 2025, actually February 24th. We already have that date and place reserved, Shiloh High School. So, of course, we are definitely in the planning stages and developing stages where I am quite sure we are going to have a out of this world event. I'm looking forward to 2025. I think it's going to be even more powerful than 2024, which was great. So, but it's going to be hard to kind of really match 2024.
You got to do me a favor. Can you describe an out of this world event? What's that like? A feeling or a sensation? What is that?
An out of this world event is something where everything magical that you can think of that happens, right? It was lights, camera, action, networking, just a happy, the environment was inviting, it was positive, it was just great energy. And what was really, I think, even greater is that we had so many people who did not know each other, different parts of the world, and for one event and one reason only is to walking in their purpose and all about purpose, they came together And it was just love, positivity, everybody embracing each other. And I don't think you could really ask for, something more powerful than that, to be honest with you. So I think, to me, I think that was just out of this world. There was just no negative. There was just no negative energy at all in the whole atmosphere from the morning we started all the way. I mean, like, we didn't even want to go home. It was like 12 o'clock at night.
So like you're still at the event,
I'm telling you.
in that event, and what a wonderful job you did too. You made that event so powerful, and so that's what an out of this body experience is, I guess, is that what you're calling it. So what else is happening? I know we're having it on the 24th of February 2025, and tickets are on sale. We're just ready to make it happen all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely get your tickets now, because I'm going to tell anyone, if you weren't there this year, I guarantee you we're going to be sold out. It's going to be a sold out event, and you definitely want to make sure you have your space in that room. If you know anyone who attended this year event, they will tell you. It's like, we don't even have to speak on it, right? Like, people who were in attendance will definitely tell you how how moving it was, and how it actually impacted their lives, to where they had to go back and then look into themselves to say, hey, am I really doing all I can in this life that I have? So it left people really reflecting on their life. So yeah, so like I said, I definitely
And that is the thing I've been hearing. Am I doing what I'm here to do? That's what I've been hearing from people. And that came to their realization. Maybe there's something else they should be doing with their lives. And it's not just about going out there and earning. That's good. That's necessary. But just maybe there's something else. Something else is happening. I'm going to play a quick video. All right? Something is happening in September, and I'm going to play a quick video. All right?
Last year, I had the opportunity to travel on a mission trip to Africa, specifically the country of Kenya. If it was not for your donations and you supporting me on this trip, the many initiatives that was successful would not have been possible. So for that, I greatly appreciate you, and I thank you very much. However, from my experience on this trip, which was life-changing for me, in such a way that a charge was placed on my heart to go back to Kenya. My experience brought me face to face with the everyday challenges that people face. Families not being able to feed their children, not send their children to school, and not being able to supply just basic hygiene needs for their children. Yes, the needs are vastly great and challenging, and it's difficult to meet them all. But with that said, I am returning to Kenya once again in September of 2024 with Hope and Destiny Foundation in Kenya. We will be having our Reaching Out, Reaching Up community outreach initiative. This initiative, once again, it will help with providing sanitary towels for the girls, school supplies, and even a clothing drive, along with food items for the community. And once again, I am asking you to help us to achieve our goals. This year, Reaching Out, Reaching Up will allow us to begin working on building and creating sustainable opportunities for the communities. So with that, I leave you with One act of kindness may change a person's life forever. One life, one village, one town, one county, one country. At a time, we will help the less fortunate to help themselves. And so once again, I thank you for your support.
Wow. That's quite impactful. So yes, 2024 will be a busy year again.
Yes, we're doing it again. And do you want to elaborate? How can someone out there that wants to support the initiative, how can they support it?
So anyone who wants to support, they can support us in several different ways, of course. They can, if you'd like to be a part of the trip, because we still have open slots. So if you would like to be a part of this initiative and it is something that's placed on your heart where you would like to serve in a serving capacity, we do have spots there that is still open. So you are more than welcome to join us on the trip. And we definitely, we're looking forward, for people who wants to do this. And also, if that's just not your thing and you would like to support us financially, you can do that as well. You can either email reaching up at gmail.com and we will respond to your email. And you can also either you can Zelle us donations and you can Zelle that to reaching up at gmail.com, or you can actually Zelle us at 678-663-9359. All donations we accept. $1, $5, $100, $500. We accept it all. What they say in Jamaica, every little make a muckle. So nothing is too small. Yes, you put it in the piggy, it adds up because like I said, the needs are so great. So any support, we greatly appreciate it. Yes, we welcome your prayers and everything else and your encouragement and your moral support on the trip for the trip as well. But we also welcome the financial support for the various initiatives that will be taking place there.
And such, you talk about every little make a muckle, meaning any amount that you can send is really and truly appreciated. But I'll tell you this much, the work ahead is great. It's huge. It's large. No small work, right? And
No.
and we know that going there, we're just touching. That's a small. We're doing what we can, right? And we appreciate any support we can get. We receive is appreciated. So we're going to Kenya September this year.
Mm-hmm.
What are the dates? What are the dates?
It is the 13th through the 20th.
13th through the 20th, we're going to Kenya, and we will be visiting Nairobi. We're going to Nairobi, then we're going to Kitale, which is heading towards the Uganda border. So maybe we'll get the opportunity to step and walk over into Uganda for a couple of minutes and come back. So great opportunity. There will be some tourist things that we'll be doing. We'll be going to the park, Nairobi Park, and do some other things there. So we'll get to learn a little bit about at least the parts of Kenya that we'll be. It's not just work. There's some fun involved, but it's mainly work. We're going there to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Going there to make a difference. This time around, of course, we'll be spending more time in the community where we will kind of, network more with the community, try to learn more about the community, what some of the greater needs are within the surrounding areas, and visit some homes of families, just so that we can get a really good, a good perspective of how real everyday living is. And hopefully with your help and your support, we will be able to kind of like just advance in building different sustainable support systems, right, for the communities, and also where we can empower them to help their communities and give back to their communities and sustain their communities. So this trip, it's like we said, it's really a community outreach where we're going to be out in the community and just being a little bit more involved on the ground, and really getting a good feel of the everyday life of the people. And of course, it's not everyone that may be in a bad situation, but there are families that are really in bad situation. And especially with the children, there's quite a high rate of orphans that's there as well. And that's very challenging. It's challenging to take care of these children who are who've become orphans for various different reasons, losing their parents, or parents just can't afford to take care of them and just leave them.
Right.
We apologize. We're having some technical difficulties. So our internet is kind of going in and out, and it's a bit wonky this evening. But hopefully you hear us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I recall us, during our visit to Kenya last year, in September it was, and visiting Lunga Lunga, as you talk about orphans, and I had an experience there. And what an experience that was. If you ever see a need to do something, if you ever experience a need to do something, visit Lunga Lunga, and you'll walk away knowing that you have a role to play. You need to do something to make a difference. And so we're going back, and I'm sure we'll have some similar experiences, but we'll go back. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to bring on our special guest. So you ready to do that? Should we take a break? We always say take a break, but it's going to be a little bit more than a quick break. All right. So our viewers, that it's a little bit more than a quick break. So let's jump in there.
All right, let's go.
Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out. No fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. So Donna, before you bring on our guest, right? I was in Jamaica last week, and she told me that, you know, the song is saying it's my decision to be in alignment with my purpose.
Mhm.
She just confirmed that to me, that is exactly where she is. She's in her calling. So I think this is a wonderful, great time. See, we're losing her again. She's
Right.
having as much internet issues as we are having here, I see.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
So,
the internet is not, it's not cooperating with us here.
and she's coming all the way from Jamaica, and she's clearly having some issues as well. So we'll just wait for her. We'll be patient. All right, we'll
Right.
be patient and bring her on whenever we can see her. You know, she's out there. She just left us. She'll be back.
Yeah, she'll be back. Yeah, the internet is definitely not on our side this Monday evening. I do apologize to our listeners for this. But you know, that always happens. Like when you have great information that you want to share, there's all, you know, sometimes you have those little challenges, right? So, you know, we'll work through it. And hopefully we'll get her back online. She should be back on shortly. And then we will continue to keep on going. But in the meantime, I do thank you all for joining us this evening, this Monday evening, and spending your, once again, Monday evening with us. We do not take it for granted. We're very humble that you are here with us. And we definitely would like to ask you to like and share with your friends and family. And we actually, I think we have, she's back. So I am going to, hopefully the internet will just cooperate with us. But before I bring her up, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about her. And of course, she will get into the spiel of giving you all her background information and tell you all her story and all that good stuff. But our special guest this evening is none other than Miss Miranda Wellington. And she is joining us all the way from Jamaica, the island of Jamaica, West Indies. And I'm telling you, this she inspired me. Like after I read her bio, she really inspires me because this is a lady, like we said, we talk about living on your purpose. When I read her bio, I'm like, oh my gosh, she really loved politics. Like all her life, it seemed like she's in politics and she's all about serving, right? Serving the people. And with that said, she's actually running for the Southwest region of St. Elizabeth for to be a member of parliament. So she's a candidate for the member of parliament. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it's her party's the People's National Party, if I'm not mistaken. But let me just give you guys a little snippet of about Miss Wellington. Guys, she has been serving at the tender age of 16 in politics. Now, I don't know, but at 16, knowing that that's your calling and where you need to be, that is definitely amazing. And you talk about being intentional, right? So she's been a member of the Board of Management National Irrigation Commission Board and deputy chair, Board of Management member in the Newell High School, and a commissioner on the National Water Commission Board. And of course, she's been a head girl at Hampton High School. So a lot of people, you may not know, but like a head girl, that's, when you're in high school and you're a head girl, that's a pretty prestigious position with a lot of responsibility. So that means, you're like sticking to the rule and you're the rule maker and you keep everybody in line. So that's a definite great accomplishment for her there. So without further ado, I am going to bring on with us Miss Miranda Wellington. So we're going to do our drum roll. Okay, so I'm by myself today doing drum roll, but that's okay because Dr. Stephenson will be back on. Like I said, the internet is wonky, so we're working through it. But drum roll, and then we're going to add Miss Wellington to the stage. Hello.
Hello. Good evening to all our viewers, our listeners. Good evening to both you and Dr. Laxley. It's such a pleasure. Beautiful Irish Jamaican hello coming from Southwest St. Elizabeth.
Oh my gosh, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know I saw when he was there last week or something, right?
Yes.
And then he did like a little video and showing the beach and all that nice scenery. I was like, I felt kind of jealous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I should be in Jamaica. We were kind of nippy here.
Yes, we had a beautiful time. We had good exchanges. He met with the local people. We spoke about our plans. And basically, we shared in community, which is the aim of my journey,
Right, nice. So tell us about yourself, Miranda. Who is Miranda? How did you get to this place where you are now?
Wow, it has indeed been a journey, but it has been an amazing experience, one filled with gratefulness and shared vision. To me, this journey is not about myself. When I started out, I felt it was my journey, but on the beginning, I realized there's so many of my friends and my family and my community wanted this for me. And so this feels like a shared journey, and this is something being fulfilled that they saw in the future that I did not possibly think it could be, but who am I? My name is Miranda. I'm a mother to a beautiful son. His name is Ari St. John Campbell. He's a 4th grader in Black River, which is not far from here. I'm a family-oriented person. I'm an educator for over 16 years.
Oh.
I am so much a part of my community. I love my country. I love to serve. I'm driven. I'm motivated. I'm highly have high expectations, which is good and sometimes difficult to accept. But I'm a person, I'm God-fearing, and that is very important to me, especially in this journey. And I'm very hopeful about what the prospects will be for me when I become the Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth. I'm representing the People's National Party, which is the opposition party in Jamaica currently. And I will be representing one of the constituencies in St. Elizabeth, which is on the southern belt. We have 4 constituencies in St. Elizabeth, and I will be representing southwestern St. Elizabeth in the next general election. So that's a little bit about me.
A little bit about yourself. Wow, wow, nice. Well, like we said, this it's all about you here, right? And in the spotlight is definitely where we have what we call unfiltered conversation. So you have the opportunity to share. Hopefully you're able to share with share the stream with your friends and family as well, so that they can support you. But if not, it is recorded, so you can always share it with them, right, afterwards. And that's perfectly fine.
I've posted it on my social media platforms. However, the challenges with internet. So I'm hopeful that as we go along, more people will join in and get the kind of highlight that we need at the moment.
Right. So when is the elections there for you?
Well, that decision is totally upon the Prime Minister. He's the one who calls the election. Constitutionally, it will be due next year, next year, September. But we just recently concluded the local government elections, which is the local based councillor representatives. And I was very much a part of that, because that is my stepping stone to this position that I have, because in the position of Member of Parliament, you have councillors who support that process, and the councillors would have had their elections, and their elections somewhat were married into the MP's journey, because currently we hadn't had an election for over 8 years, and that was long overdue. So this election felt it was almost like a combination of general and local. So I was very much a part of it, and this was also important to me, because this was my testing, my measurement stick to see where I'm at, what are the areas that I need to focus on, and it also gave me some direction in terms of the way I want the campaign to be led, and it was successful for me. I retained and I also gained. So I got an additional seat, which is the only one in St. Elizabeth, and that's a win for our party in the parish and in Southwest. And this is showing our strength, or revitalization in the constituency, and it is also showing that we are formidable, and we just need to put in the work, and the people will come on board.
Okay, nice. So question for you. So I see that you started your journey at a very tender age.
Yes,
was that kind of like planned, or?
Well, if you grew up in the kind of, pardon?
I said, was that planned, or you just kind of fell into it and then it just developed into this blossoming person that you are now?
It's a combination of factors. If you grew up in the family that I had, or that I have, you couldn't hide from politics. It was spoken at the dinner table. It was in your we were on the campaign trail when we were babies, and I could recall as a youngster in primary school, maybe no older than maybe 9, 8, 9. I was very much a part of the Jamaican culture, where we represented the Jamaica Cultural Development JCDC competitions, where we would say poems and songs, and I was normally brought to the political conferences, and I would be the entertainment. So like in other areas where you'd bring a singer, or you'd have some aspect to the campaign where you have entertainment. Well, I was the entertainment at 9 and 10. I would be placed on a table because I was wee short or wee tall, and I would be placed on the table, and I would basically be given a microphone and be told to say my poem. I can recall vividly saying a poem that I had rehearsed for Jamaica Festival competition, Marcus Garvey, and that poem used to I used to recite it at all the conferences going around. And so I was brought by my mother, because my mother was very much a part of the campaign in Southwest. So that is my genesis, I would say. And then I just basically had a love for it. I had a love for people. When you are in politics, if you don't love people, you're in the wrong job. Because whether you like it or not, this is going to be something that it gives you so much, but it takes a lot too. And people are at the heart and at the center of politics. And if you don't love the people, don't represent them. And I think my love for the people brought me closer to politics, even though I was mostly in the organizational sense, because I did the bookkeeping and the secretary work, watching in the distance, in the behind the scenes. I would watch the former member of parliament, Donna Thompson, who was here for over 3 terms, and he brought a lot of social investment to our communities. He brought water and roads and light, and I watched, him, me being in the background, watching him doing the things he did, and admired him from a distance, not thinking that I would be too in that position one day. And I think that was the stepping stone for my journey. And it also taught me a lot. It taught me patience, because I would have been a part of the difficult struggles and the challenges of politics. And I feared it. I sometimes even absconded, didn't want to be a part of representational politics. More, I would say that I was more interested in the policy direction, the refined part of politics, which is the Senate, where you make decisions where you basically would help to contribute to policy making and amendments, that kind of legal aspect of politics. And so I fear the representational part. That's the hardcore part of the politics. And so I shied away from it for a long time. And then went on to university, became very active socially, did a lot of outreach programs with my cluster. I went to UE. But I would say even before that, I was head girl at Hampton. So they saw in me leadership qualities that I maybe never even recognized myself. I was part of the prefect body, student council body, and eventually head girl. And then I went on to the University of the West Indies, where I became cluster leader. I became a part of the guild. So I was being trained and I did not know. And then I eventually took on political science to be a part of my degree.
Right. Nice. Let me see. Someone said, I think we're getting some feedback.
I would say,
are you, because I know the internet is kind of wonky. Give me 1 second, Miranda. Are you getting any feedback on your end? I think, let's see here. It's a little bit.
I'm hearing your voice, but it's really in the distance. So I'm going to increase volume.
Okay.
You're in, okay. I'm gonna
Yeah, I apologize to everyone, to our viewers this evening, because we're getting
mic is on mute. Okay. Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're coming across a lot clearer.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to see if I can log in on another phone so that we can maybe hear the hear me a little better or a little clearer, hopefully.
Now I'm actually hearing you. Are you hearing that echo? Because I'm hearing you clearer now.
Okay, you're hearing me better. Okay, I'm hearing you. Well, once you're hearing me, that's fine, and that's a purpose. So I will adjust my hearing a little bit. Mine is a little low, but I'll hear you as if I listen keenly. But you have to tell me, where did you leave off? I was telling you about my political journey, and
yes.
I hope you would have gotten that aspect of it. So as I shared, I was at the University of the West Indies, being a part of many different organizations and outreach programs. And I think that too helped to build my character. But as I shared before, I would say that sometimes God prepares you for battles that you didn't know that you were going to be a part of. And then sometimes, you know, you're hoping that, you know, what you would have garnered over the years would make you into a formidable, you know, person. But, you know, you have to believe. And as Dr. Laxley Stephenson had highlighted, sometimes you don't know the power that you have unless you know your purpose. And I was very fortunate enough to figure out my purpose just in time. Just in the nick of time, when I, you know, because you gain the skills, you have the knowledge, you're educated, you're out, you're exposed, but you lack the self-drive, the kind of purpose-driven entity that you need to be to survive the journey you're going to go on. And I was very, very grateful to have found Collision with a Purpose. And yes, I collided. Yes, just in the nick of time, gave me my purpose. I knew exactly what I was meant to do. You know, feared it all along, didn't want to be a part of it. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I talk every day, and I know my, you know, my information, I know my area of study, but then, you know, still feeling unfulfilled, still feeling that I had more to offer, but just couldn't figure it out. And so when we met, you know, he just allowed me to align. And so every day I speak of, you know, that grateful, you know, that gratefulness for me to have, you know, met my purpose, you know. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Doc, you're back.
I'm back. I had to come in through the back door. With my
That's good. Well, now you're up front and center, so that's most important.
You know, we're having no internet in our area, and
I don't think you're the only one. I think we're also having some difficulties here in Jamaica too. Maybe the weather.
Yeah, we have perfect weather here. I don't know. All right, well, it's good to be on. I was listening to the conversation. Great conversation. Just go ahead and talk about your stuff. Just listening, you know.
But Miranda, what I wanted to ask you, and I know, Dr. Stephenson is going to have a lot more stuff to ask you. But what are some of the major challenges you see that's happening in Southwest St. Elizabeth that you're facing right now?
So just to give you a little background to the constituency in which I would like to serve. This constituency is a rural constituency. It's very large, very wide. I think maybe the third largest in the island, and so it has a population of about 34 to 35,000 people, and so there's no political directorate that can service the needs of so many people, because unfortunately, when you're in government, everybody's allocated the same amounts of money, you know, and so regardless if you have a population of 10,000 versus 34,000, you still get the same amount of allocations. And so this is something that I will be lobbying for when I become member of parliament, because rural communities need stronger support from government. And when we talk about the challenges that we face in Southwest, this is directly linked to that, because we lack infrastructural development. And I shared that with Dr. Laxley last week, that our road infrastructure in the constituency, our road network, is severely under-supported, underfunded possibly too. And this is a challenge I will face when I become Member of Parliament, because the resources will be small, but we have to take care of the roads that will bring most development to our areas. And prime on the list of challenges is water. Water. And I think right now, I just listened to your briefing about your visit to Kenya, and you know the challenges that the young ladies face. And you can't develop, there's nowhere in the world that can be developed without water. You know, and I said before, if water is life, you have to bring infrastructural development so that you can impact social development, because you have to have housing, you have to have proper sanitary places where people can feel a sense of pride, portable water. It should be a right. It should be a right to every citizen in Jamaica. And Southwest, currently, we have to be trucking water. We have to be buying water at exorbitant prices. Some of our constituents, today I met with a few ladies from a community called Slive, and you're talking about $25,000 for maybe a 3,000 gallon truck. That's crazy. You know, you pay $1,000 for the water and then you're selling it back at $25,000. And this 3,000 gallon of water can only service, a 3,000 gallon, as you can know, each of them, if one person get 1,000 gallon, that's 3 people. So if you're sending a truck of water to a community, you're barely giving them enough water to drink, you know, for a day or 2, with a family of 5. And you're talking about a constituency with 35,000 people. And majority of the areas have no water. The water lines are small, and also we have our well system. It doesn't service farther than, say, a perimeter of say 40,000 kilometers. So what I'm saying is that there has to be, and this should be a national initiative. There has to be serious heads coming at a table. How are we going to help Jamaica out of the water crisis that we are facing? It is a national issue. It's not just a Southwest issue. It has always been a Southwest issue because we're predominantly a farming community. So we always wanted water to farm. But now it's a domestic issue where we don't even have water to drink. And for a land of wood and water, where is the water?
Wow.
What's the implications for the farmers? You know, you say it's a primary farming constituency. How does that work with lack of water for the farmers?
Well, we have been ingenuitive over the years. I come from the largest farming community in Jamaica, which is Flagaman, and we have the largest registered farmers in the island. And we have never had regular rainfall. We have never had regular rainfall. Luckily, the type of soil that we have on the southern belt, it doesn't require a lot of water. But what they've been doing for centuries is they've done water storage. So one of the prime ways is that you have to have a tank at your property, because you have to store when there's drought, and you have to use wisely when it is, you know, a difficult time. But you have methods of farming that have improved the water uptake. For example, you know, I was fortunate enough to be a part of rural water development, which has allowed me to become more insightful in the areas of proper farming techniques. So we do drip irrigation, which has limited amount of water going to the crop, limited wastage. And there's also the system of you know, rainer watering, which you don't get the water often, but when the crop gets it, it utilizes it well. But we are not even getting those services. When rainfall comes, we do rainwater harvesting. Most of the houses in South St. Elizabeth are guttered. And I don't know if for our viewers or our listeners, if they understand what we say when we gutter houses or properties. So we use catchment to catch rainfall, and we store in times of drought, and then we pump to the plants or pump to the home. You know, and these are the farmers have been skilled in managing limited water resources over the years. And so we have to say that they need help now. They need help. And that's primary. And for any country to develop, you have to invest in farming. Farming, if you have to feed your people, if you can't feed your people, you're going to be dependent for the rest of your life. And if we import the way that we're importing now, the impact of importation on local farmers is going to be damaging. And so the entire farming belt in Southwest is going to become a desert for future if we don't seriously look at how to alleviate water crisis and how to protect our farming culture from the large importations that are taking place in the island.
So can I ask you, does this in your area is there a percentage of, like, you know, because you say it's the farming belt, right? So is that area primarily where you would say they feed the country, where the crops come from to feed overall the island?
That used to be. Currently, it's not, because the percentage of farmers have decreased. The percentage of crop production has decreased. And that's from a myriad of issues. The cost of farming has become seriously expensive. So people are not farming as much because fertilizer, the cost of fertilizer, which is a major input cost in farming, is crippling. We can't buy a bag of 50 pounds, which is about $13,000. So for an acreage of about 3 acres of melon, you don't want to know the amount of fertilizer that would need to grow that crop, plus water costs and plus mulching costs and the cost of seeds. So what we see happening is that the farmers are severely hampered by all of their inputs: water, fertilizer, the cost of seeds and sprays. You know, you have to spray the crop for the crop to come, and everything that I just spoke about except water is imported. So if you import all of those costs and that is not dependent on you're going to be faced with any price they give you. So the cost of bringing a crop to fruition is far more expensive than importing it. And so this is the double jeopardy we face in Southwest, where our farmers cannot produce at the cost for them to become competitive anymore, for their crops to go to the hotels or for them to go to the markets, because it's so costly to grow.
So they're basically now, it's like growing crops just to feed themselves and their family.
And their pigs.
And wow.
They're animals. There sometimes are glut. So there has to be proper structuring of how to really look at the farming sector in our country. What we're seeing is that agriculture has to be a priority for our government. And when we say a priority, most first world countries are seriously subsidized. Agriculture is subsidized because they see the value in their farmers and feeding their population. And if we don't seriously look at how to protect our, local industries, we're going to be forced to import everything except air.
Except air. Miranda, you in your constituency, you have a high percentage of returning residents. Is that correct?
That is this what I call it, the soft spot of my leadership in Southwest. I have a soft spot for the returning residents. Because
my real question though, before you go there, what's the healthcare system like? Because
Well,
generally speaking, returning residents tend to be a little bit older. So,
and that's a fear factor for many of them, because
yeah.
when they come, they want a proper healthcare system because they are in need more of that industry. And so we find that many of them fly back out to get medical treatment and then come back home for leisure. So what you find is that they are not so much taking up the healthcare system because they see the challenges of the local people getting, access to beds. I mean, we have maybe a hospital, the Black River Hospital, one in St. Elizabeth. And there's only one hospital in most parishes. So logistically, you know that you have to travel far distances to go to a hospital in the case of an emergency. So really and truly, emergencies aren't priority. So pray to God you don't have an emergency in Jamaica in health.
Wow.
Or you're going to be at a disadvantage.
And
But the healthcare system, it has its challenges, and it's a successive governments. I'm not going to be, on about what is happening now. We as a country have to look at how are we going to finance it, because it's an expensive venture. We may have to do public-private partnerships to improve our hospital systems. And there has to be ways to improve our primary healthcare structures, such as our clinics, our healthcare centers, because majority of the illnesses and the issues that we face in the healthcare system is directly related to, lifestyle diseases, which if you are educated about in your local communities, and your healthcare facilities in your communities can take that burden off of the healthcare, the secondary systems, it will ease the burden of it. Medication is expensive, generic medications, all of those things. So what you find is that the returning residents go abroad when they're to do their medicals or their checkups, and they'll say, Miranda, we're flying out because we have our healthcare checks to do, or our heart medications to look about, and then they come back. So that tells you that they don't have the confidence in our healthcare.
And I wonder how expensive that must be, the cost to fly out for health purposes. That must be quite a challenge, and could be a deterrent as well for some people wanting to come there. So, and healthcare should definitely be not a Southwestern St. Elizabeth initiative. It needs to be nationwide. And it seems, and as you rightfully said, all governments, they've been very lacking where that is concerned, where that situation is concerned. So when you get in and become member of parliament, I'm sure you'll be advocating for a better healthcare system island-wide.
Something I'll be lobbying for, definitely. The needs of my people are wide, but if we focus on the major issues first, which is, to provide the needs that are critical right now, I think we can tackle them together. And we must recognize too that, some of these challenges are not political, they're social. And politicians are just one arm of the solution, because I believe in partnerships with people. And as you would have highlighted in your program, the kind of outreach and the initiatives that you have worked with, it shows that the political structure alone cannot help the issues, the challenges that we face. We have to build better communities and integrate the social development aspect of our communities to help the country. When you have communities who look out for themselves, they form their groups, their NGOs, they can get things for themselves. They can put in football programs, community centers, they can have their health fairs, they can have their own individual support system. and take the burden off of the national support system. So my whole aim in becoming member of parliament is to make our communities more independent, make our communities more self-reliant, and make our communities more self-efficient, where they know that they have the power too. It's not politicians alone or church leaders, which they have been dependent on, but they have the power but don't know it.
Wow. Donna, can we take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about that Miranda to talk about a couple of other pressing issues in Jamaica, education, one, and I know she's an educator, and also crime. We'll talk about those two, and specifically as they relate to your constituency. So Donna, can you take us to a break and then bring us back on, please?
Sure. All righty, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
A collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Welcome back, everyone. We're back with Miss Miranda Wellington and Dr. Stephenson, and of course, Donna Thompson.
I see we are still having some challenges, but we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Is Miranda with us?
Yes, I'm very much here.
Awesome. And you should be doing this video here from this conversation from Treasure Beach. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, all are welcomed, because that's my aim, to highlight and to, showcase what we have to offer here in Southwest. And we have some of the most beautiful places. I boast about it every day, and people don't believe until they get here. So I'm glad you're a living testimony, Doc, that Treasure Beach is a place to come.
You should tell my co-host Donna that she needs to hear that, because she would have come to Jamaica soon, and I suggested to her that should be one of her stops.
Mm-hmm. He certainly did.
Has to be very quiet and calm, and beautiful beaches and friendly faces, and you might also be lucky to find one of the local people cooking what they just pulled from the farm and cooking it for you right there on the beach.
Oh wow, nice.
Yes. We
Right
just
to the
from
table.
Yeah, from farm to table. Doc, you got it.
Yes. That's what we enjoy doing here. We like to do that. We like to eat healthy, right, Donna? We believe in that. Yeah. So, but we're talking about living healthy. Let's talk about the crime. Jamaica. I just saw it in the news that Jamaica ranked real high in terms of certain types of crimes and in worldwide per capita. What's the crime like in your constituency?
Well, we were often, and for a long time, a very quiet place. You know, we had a low crime rate because it's a rural community and the people are close. You know, unfortunately, we've been having some issues. We've been having some challenges with an upsurge in a few of our communities that have been quiet for so long. And you know, they say crime is directly linked to social deprivation, social issues. But I also too feel that, you know, social media and globalization has contributed because people are now being exposed, communities are interacting more, people are having relationships with people further out, further in, and our borders, because we are a South Coast village. And so, you know, people travel by boat to neighboring countries and islands. And, you know, that causes criminal elements to come into the areas. So we are challenged just like the rest of Jamaica now with crime. Major issue happening in our parish. And sadly, we are facing what you say. Before, we used to be show a blind eye because it's not at our doors, but now it's very much in our faces, in our homes. Our children are being murdered, and that's one of the sad things, because recently I visited a mother whose son was shot and killed. And as a mother myself, that broke my heart to know that she has to bury her child. And to know, I mean, it is a community issue. It's not a mother or a person. When crimes are committed in communities, in rural areas, it's the whole community mourns. It's not just a family or a mother or a son or a daughter. It's the entire community that goes into fear. It's an entire area that no longer feels safe. So we are grappled with that too, just like the rest of Jamaica.
Just like the rest of the world, but for Jamaica, you know, Donna is from Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from Westmoreland, Little London, and we talk about crime. That's a real problem there. But you know, my question though, are we doing enough as citizens, as you know, citizens, a country, as you know, businesses? Are we doing enough to tackle this problem?
That's a very good question, Doc. I know that we need more support. We need greater participation from stakeholders, which is inclusive of the business community, the church leaders, the school structure. It is a whole myriad of social breakdown that causes crime. But one stepping stone by which to start is we have to take accountability for our actions, because you can't think that you can solve crime, but you're okay with somebody stealing, or we are okay with you know, petty crimes, because I think petty crimes lead to larger issues. I find that it is a breakdown of our integrity and our moral standing. When I was growing up, church was important to community, school was important to community, and the social institutions played a heavier role in the community. And now what you find is that nobody is playing any role other than church I keep on Sunday, and that is it. And they are fighting to get membership. People not going to school, and it's not a big deal. I have a major issue in my constituency. Majority of the high schools, their population reduces after Wednesday. Half of the population of our children in schools have been cut in half, and that is major issues for the future. If our children are not going to school, what are they doing? They're going, the devil find work for idle hands. And so when we talk about crime didn't just come about it had been showing its face in different things. If your children are not going to school, they have to find something to do, or they are going to become a nuisance or a delinquent. And so if we don't value education, what are we going to value if we don't value skill training? So our children are not going to school, and that's fine with the communities. Our school is a major deterrent to crime. And as an educator, when I started out, school population was high. Our children are not going to school anymore, and I will face any scrutiny for saying that, because I'm a part of the structure and I know the population. The population has reduced significantly. Our children in Jamaica are not going to school. It's there for the world to know. We used to have high registration in school. After Wednesday, they're not going back to school anymore. So what are they doing? They have to find something to do. And so they become a problem to the police. The other aspect to deterring crime is that the police must not only be seen as a force against crime, but must be seen as a socializing factor. We only see the police when crime happens. And so we are expecting that the police is supposed to stop crime. The police cannot stop crime when crime come, you see them. So the police needs to, the police force has to marry their role with not only to protect, but to serve. They are protecting and not really protecting, but they are not serving, because the serving part of it is to collaborate with the stakeholders, to collaborate with political leaders, to collaborate with business community, with the community, and put on sports programs, put on homework initiatives. They are to partner. There are stakeholders just like the other people. And so we have to look at the kind of policing that is taking place, because I don't want to see my police officers when a crime is committed. I want to see them in the community, interacting with the people and serving the people too. So I think that there are so many areas that we really have to seriously look at when we're going to tackle crime. But as an educator, education is going to be primary in my leadership when I become MP. No children are going to be walking on the streets like that so casually in the middle of the week when they're supposed to be at school. I don't think community members even stop and ask them why they're not at school. Well, we know that a lot of them face, they don't have the money anymore. The families are broken. And so, there's no support system for families. So children don't have money to go to school anymore, but we are not worried that our children are not going to school. And that's a major red flag for any country.
Yeah. Wow. Donna, before I ask this question, you go ahead and ask any questions. I don't want to take up all the time.
No, you're fine. It was interesting because I wanted to ask you that, because you said, like Monday through Wednesday, attendance will be high. And then it falls off. And I was going to ask you that, like, what do you think the reasoning for that is? Is it, because parents are not, they don't have the money to send them for the other 2 days, or, there has to be a reason why attendance is high for 2 days or 3 days, and then it falls off at the end of the week, or vice versa.
Well, if you're a Jamaican, you know that Mondays are very critical to go to school. Uniforms are pressed, and children basically prepare for the work for the school week. But as the days go by, I would say Fridays used to be a down day. Fridays you'd have less attendance. But what we're seeing is a shift come up to Wednesday. So a family will have 3 children. One goes Monday to Wednesday, one goes Wednesday to Thursday, one only goes 3 days a week. So they have to be, they're shifting. They're basically on shift to go to school because it's so costly.
Wow.
So the ability for a family to send their children to school is really being affected now because of the social, the economic issues that are facing the country. And also, when a child reaches a certain age, he has to find employment. In COVID, we found that was a major, and we have not bounced back from COVID, to be honest. When we talk about a country being hampered by a social crisis, a national crisis, a world crisis, we have not recovered from COVID. In COVID, our children were on work sites. People were allowed to build houses, but not allowed to go to school. People were allowed to go to some people were allowed to go to supermarkets, but not allowed to go to local shops. To me, I didn't understand until now the kind of impact that have on a society. If you, for 2 years, children were not going to school, it was hard to bring them back into the space of face to face. And some of them still have not come back. Some of them left from 9th grade and now they're in the world. They're in Jamaica right now creating havoc because we didn't capture them back into the face-to-face structure when we resumed in 2022. I think we resumed in 22. So we are still bouncing back from that crisis. And I have no qualms in telling you that I don't think that education is primary on the list right now for this government. I fail to see where we are making efforts in education. Education is critical because you have to improve the knowledge and the ability of your people. Your greatest capacity, your greatest resource in your country is your people. And if you're not investing in your people, you're going to have challenges because they are not going to give you what the potential of the human mind is. And so they are not educated, so they have to find something to do. So they're going to find things that are bad to do. So education is going to be hampered for. We have to seriously look at expanding the view of education from book and pencil and arithmetic and writing to skills training. Skills training is devalued in Jamaica, and it's such a critical area of education elsewhere in the world. People are exporting people for skills right now because the whole of Canada and America is filled with Jamaicans who have skills. And so if we don't put skills training as a major area for us to improve the education base of our people, we're going to be lagging behind because the kind of innovation and technology now that is taking over the world, we don't have the people with that capacity, with that knowledge right now to cater to what the world is, the globalization bringing to us. Social media has taken over education, but our people are not creating apps. They're not creating enough websites. They're not creating, but they're consuming. So we are now becoming a culture or a country of consumers and not creators. And we have to seriously look at how we are going to tackle the education crisis in this country.
And Miranda, consuming is a good thing, but consuming what is the question, right? Is a question. I have something I've been paying attention to, and I've had numerous conversations with friends in Jamaica. And you talk about how important it is to educate the population because your people are your number one resource, right? Your human capital. But having conversations with a number of friends, they're telling me, I am not participating in the political system. I am not voting. So there's an apathy and despondency there and voters. Now, how is a democracy sustainable if people are not participating, the people are not voting? How does that work? And what needs to happen? Because they, you know, people are saying, "Oh, that I didn't." I said, "Did you vote?" No, I did not. Why didn't you vote? Because it's not going to make any difference. So, is it making a difference if you stay out? How is it sustainable? How can you build a country without people participating in the political process? Donna, can you hear?
I can hear you. Hopefully we didn't freeze.
I'm not sure if Miranda is here.
Miranda, can you hear us?
I'm hearing you now.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you heard my. I'm not sure if you got
yes,
my question.
Heard the question. I would.
She's not coming through.
Because as a young person in politics right now, my colleagues or my friend structure will tell me that I am a crazy person for going into politics. And the reason for that is because they don't see where I am going to be able to change the status quo or even to make a big impact, because so many people they've seen being gobbled up by the guinea gags or the kind of red tape that is in politics. But I will tell my people that you have to be the change that you want to see for change to be effective. And what I find is that everybody wants to see changes, but they don't want to be the person to lead the change. And so I believe that we have to empower people to know what they have. So programs like yours, Dr. Laxley, that helps to inspire people, helps to motivate them, help to see their worth and their value, will allow people to take on more leadership positions. And so we have to start from the school structure where positions and leadership is valued. If people are not going to school, that is the first place of leadership. When you get form monitor or hall prefect in churches where you're in charge of positions, but if people are not participating in the social institutions, then they won't see themselves as leaders and see themselves as change makers. And so when I see the kind of voter apathy out there, I know that that's a direct relationship between them not being engaged in the institutions, in the social institutions in the country. They're either them leave school and never get no position, or them don't a part of no industry. Maybe them just basically just living hand to mouth, because there's no formalized structure to show and teach leadership for people to feel that they can make changes. And so that too is a part of the reason why people shy away from wanting to participate. And the other thing is that we have to hold our political and national leaders more accountable. Corruption is a major issue in our country, and people are fearful of electing more corrupt leaders. You can't blame them. And so we have to choose leaders with better integrity and greater moral standards. I'm not saying that you must be holy. I'm not saying that you must be perfect, but there has to be accountability in governance, because accountability tells people that when you do something wrong, there are consequences. And so we have to be leaders and lead by example for people to trust us and want to believe in us and vote for us. So that is the second part. And the third part is that we have to use the money for what it is given for. We are not utilizing the resources of our country correctly. And so people, when people see you doing what they give you money to do, what their tax-paying money is doing, they will be willing to vote for you to come back to represent them. So accountability is critical in increasing or reducing voter apathy.
And I think accountability is a big deal on both ends of the scale, right? We must hold our politicians accountable, and our citizens must be held accountable as well, because they must understand that they have a say and they should show up. And if a leader or a government or whatever is not doing what they should be doing, what is there a better way than to vote them out?
Well, what we do in Jamaica is don't vote. We don't vote. And sometimes the people who are making the choices for us don't really understand governance and what they're voting for. So unfortunately, the people who have the power to make changes don't vote. But I can't be disheartened. I have to be motivated. I have to find ways to motivate my people. And one thing I have faith in is the people that I have helped to mold, which are my children. I've been a teacher for 16 years, and my children know the kind of character I have, and they know the kind of leadership I will bring to the political arena. And I trust that what I have done in the classroom for 16 years, they will reward me in the political.
Absolutely. We're losing your voice a bit. Could you see what's going on with that? Because you said something there that was so important that I'm not sure if it got out the way it should. Can you say something?
I'm not sorry. You want me to repeat what I said?
Yeah, because
your volume.
Your volume or your volume dropped a bit.
This is so important.
Yes, and I hear that.
Yeah, we lost her. Yeah, she was, I guess, some internet connection, but what you said was so important, right?
Yeah.
So important. And, we're talking about voter apathy, and I don't know the exact percentage of people, registered voters that actually turn out to vote in elections, but my understanding that it's very low. It's not what it should be. And how do you build a country with not enough of your citizens seeing it fit to participate? That is a problem. And that's a problem that in any country, the leaders should be really taking a stock of that and trying to do something, should address that. So she's back.
She's back.
I'm hoping that I am a little bit more I'm hearing my volume is better now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes,
it's almost like it's becoming where the culture is changing, right? It's like now it's becoming a culture of not voting, and just like almost like the wild west.
That's true, but we have to understand that globalization plays a major role in societies now. No longer is there any true authentic culture, because we are now marrying with the mainstream culture. It's influencing the local culture a lot. So the things that you grew up with were being impacted by other people's cultures, and we have not figured out. Many governments have not figured out how to deal with the issue of other people's culture, popular culture.
Let me say something about that, because I'm not sure if we Jamaicans understand our power and our influence on the world. I was recently in Kenya, and just to say you're Jamaican adds so much credibility and power to you as an individual. And that's not just only for Kenya. Anywhere in Africa you go, you visit, just the mere fact that you're a Jamaican, you're seen in a different way. And in a positive way.
Like you come with a superpower, right, Doc?
Yes. And what is it that we're missing in Jamaica?
We're missing colliding with their purpose. They have not met you.
There was one situation, right, when I went up. Went up to introduce myself. There are a number of people went up before me, and it was a lukewarm, how they received it. And when I went up and I said, I am from Jamaica, the place exploded.
Ah.
Just not because of me, but because I'm from Jamaica.
And I don't even know if half the people there really spoke English, but they understood the word Jamaica.
So what is it we're missing in
We
Jamaica?
little but with Talawa, and with Talawa is being watered down because we don't believe, we don't understand the value that we provide to the world.
Yes, and to the world.
Yes, self-actualization and alignment is critical. As I was saying, if we don't teach the people the value that they have, we can't showcase it to the world anymore. Because but what we got those things from the family, and the values that the families provided, the family structure, the churches, and don't underestimate the church. We got it from school, the culture that we learn. I spoke when I just started that I was a part of the JCDC. We used to practice poems, and those we used to do song and dance in schools, and we had such a sense of pride when we showcase our culture. And I think we don't value our culture because we don't recognize what the value of our people are, which is our culture. We are the valuable people. We are the value. We are the product.
Yeah, I want to say something. And, value creation is important, right? How we create value. And somewhere along the line, there were some Jamaicans that created that value. There was value created. But what we have not done very well is how to capture value from the value we created. And so there's value creation and capturing value from the value that was created. We have failed to capture value from the value that was created, and that is part of the problem. Because the experience, Donna went there. We were both in Africa, and it is amazing that just the mere fact that you're Jamaican. There are many Americans there with us. They did not get. They were not received as well as the Jamaicans. So I'm here to say that it's lack of we fail to. Value is all about valuing yourself. Mm-hmm. How do you value yourself? And that's some major work.
You are right, Doc. And valuing self comes from, how you are, the kind of what the values are, what our values are. And I spoke yesterday at a funeral service, and I spoke about love, bringing back the love. And what I find wherever I go, and the kind of reception that I get, it's because of the love that I share with the people that I meet. And I think somewhere in between all of what is happening in the world, the difficulties that people are facing, and the challenges that our society is facing, I think we are not showing love. People say kindness. We're not showing kindness to each other. And I used to get it everywhere I go when I was young. I used to get so much love and kindness. But even the way how we speak to each other in Jamaica has changed. I will go to any government institution, and the people are so harsh to each other. The way how they answer you, the way how they talk to each other. I wonder if they listen to themselves. And I sometimes even have to reflect and say something nice for them to come back down. I don't know if it's a reflection of what is happening in the difficulties, but I try my best very, very often to say kind things and show love to people, and I get a totally different reception. So the point I'm trying to make is that for you to value yourself, you have to love yourself. And for you to love yourself, you have to show love, you have to give kindness. And I think those kind of moral, we need to bring back in our culture for us to value ourselves more. Morales. Some people say Morales, but it's Morales. Yeah.
We're on a collision with purpose in the spotlight, and the home of real talk and censored and what else, Donna?
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered, and that's the conversation we're having right now. It's unfiltered, and it's real, and it is what it is, right? We in this show, we're no expert on what is happening in Jamaica, but however, we observe and we pay attention, and we see some issues, and traveling outside to other countries, we see how Jamaicans are received and how they well received, right? More than a lot of other, nationalities, people from other countries. And it's interesting that you're telling us that the internet is influencing and changing a good thing. Because what we have is such a good thing in Jamaica, but we don't seem to realize that.
Very much so.
No, it's interesting because I remember, Doc, when I know I'm looking at the time, but this is so important, right? We're talking about communities and our children and our future. This is such important conversation we're having. But I just wanted to reflect real quick on when we went to Little London High School. And that was my first time visiting when we had our initiative. And I'm telling you, like, we go back to including the children, including the community, to help each other, uplift each other, right? Is so important, because when we went there, those kids, they jumped in, they worked, they took their shirts off, they were sweating, they jumped into barrels, unpack food, sort stuff out, pack bags. I mean, and they were handing bags out to their own classmates, groceries, and those kids, they were so, happy and loving, and they were serving. And it's not like these children, it's not like, say, well, they're coming from rich homes or anything of that nature, but just being a part of something that was good, that felt good, and they were included, made such a huge difference that day to those children.
Again, you talk about leadership, right? These are cadets, and I think that's exactly what Miranda is talking about. You give them position, give them responsibilities, and look how it changed their lives. Because those kids, they empowered us. They just made us want to work with them, and that was the experience. We just felt, wow, we're in great company here, and that made us work harder. Because now these kids, they're awesome. They're awesome. Awesome. So Miranda, I listened to you. I had a long conversation with you in Jamaica, and I'm listening to you again. And you are a new breed of leader. You're not the average, typical type of leader that we have seen in politics. You speak your mind, you speak your truth, and I don't know how the system will receive what you're saying, because sometimes you're very critical of the system. But guess what? If you don't speak up, you become an enabler. If you don't speak up, then you've lost your right to complain.
She'll become a prime minister.
If you don't speak up, and if you don't participate in a system that elects your leaders, your government, then how can you complain? How can you say they're not doing their work, what they should be doing? You can't hold anyone accountable if you can't hold yourself accountable.
Thank you.
That is my opinion there. It's just an opinion, but that's what I believe.
Well said, Doc. And I agree. And when people don't want the same, If they want the same, they wouldn't be asking for change. And so, and for me, I have to speak for them because they are empowering me to speak for them. And I have to speak up loudly and boldly. And that is why they are going to elect me, because they know that we need people who are not just going to be a part of the system. We're going to need people who are going to challenge the system for better, because we deserve better. Southwest deserves better. My community deserves better.
You're born and go there, right?
Yes. Yes.
Before we go, Donna, you said something earlier, and I was just coming on that you're few and few of people farming now. What else can a young man, young woman do to make a living if they're not farming? What other opportunities are there within your constituency?
Well, what is important to note is that the primary product is the cheapest, but when you process it and turn it into tomato paste, tomato juice, it becomes a far greater value product.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we are challenging and what we hope to bring about is for us to bring that kind of development into the farming areas where people can process their product, their primary product, their tomato, their scallion, their thyme. So you're not losing your culture. You already know how to grow the tomato, but what you have not learned is how to get best value and monetization out of it, because you've been cut out of the development of the product, because you don't know that when it goes to a factory, it makes far more money than when you grow it. So what we're saying is that we have to educate our population or provide the investment where these products can become. Right now, the greatest export for Jamaica is yam and bammies and ackee, and so there's a market for Jamaican products. Jamaican niche products are demanded abroad, but we are now basically giving it to you at primary level. We're basically just selling cassava, we're basically just selling yam, we're basically just selling ackee. And now what we see is that when another person takes it and makes it into a patty, it becomes 10 times the price. When somebody makes it into bami, it becomes 10 times the price. So why not allow your people to make it into patties, make it into bammies, and export it instead of giving it away for nothing? So what we're saying is that let's empower people, let's give them the opportunity, let's create industries within the farming communities. Let's set up centers, storage facility, because we know that one of the major hindrance to farmers too is loss, spoilage. So if you have storage, so what we're saying, Doc, is that we're not trying to change the culture of the people. We're not trying to find different employment for them. What we're trying to do is to empower them to understand that there is greater benefit in knowledge of how to bring your crop to another product, not just a primary product, but to a secondary and to a service eventually. So that is my aim.
It's your aim. And that is just a great, wonderful vision, excellent vision to have for your people. Powerful stuff. Donna?
So, how do you envision that you would accomplish this? I'm just kind of curious, because, to take someone who does farming and they don't see what you're seeing, how do you envision to give them the knowledge and teach them the knowledge to make their product into something else?
Well, what we find is that a lot of community members, we have to provide provide educational support. So we'd have to partner with the Heart Trust, which helps to you have product development, and we have to invest. So we would have to find, instead of investing, because what we find, is that people don't want to invest in things that government have not been an investor. Government has been a spender. So we are not creating employment. We oftentimes just provide the support system. So we have people who have the know-how and the knowledge, and we can bring that kind of technology in and provide small business loans for people who are willing to go into that industry. But because they were not exposed before. So you also have to provide the education, and you can partner with some of our business communities who have the technology but maybe don't have the labor to do it. So instead of us having to go to Kingston, let's build some factories and some small businesses that can show manufacturing within the farming communities, because transportation is going to drive up the cost. So let's partner with some people to bring the industries closer to the farm. Bring the industries, because town, Donna, I don't know if you know, but everybody feels a town is the cat's pajama. And everything you want, you have to go to town for. We need to understand that rural communities have the capacity to grow better, but there is no investment. We have to invest in our rural communities, because you keep them rural and only the towns are flourishing, because half of the rural communities are suffering from migration, and they're suffering because we are not bringing investments to the rural communities, and that is why we're suffering from water, because you invest in a town water, you send water from St. Elizabeth to Mandeville, but the water is from St. Elizabeth. That don't make, I'm just giving an example, but I'm sharing you with what is really happening. So if you are serious about investment in your country, it can't just be town areas, because a lot of these people have to come and bring trucks and vans to come for the raw materials to take back to town to process. And what we find is that it's still not working out, because the road infrastructure is terrible too. So what we're saying, public-private partnership. Government has to lead the way. You don't have to be a government-led initiative, but it must lead the way in attracting investors to our communities, because we can do it. We can do it. We do it for other things. Them beg money for do everything else. Them beg money for buy highway, build highway. They beg money. They beg money to give COVID shots to the population. They can beg money to empower our people. Beg money to empower people, but people feel that there's a lot of monies out there, but you have to do business proposals. You have to create NGOs. You have to create ANCs, communities that can write their business plans and ask for support. But we are not empowering our people enough to tell them what is available out there. I've been a part of communities that have gotten their schools built. I've been a part of communities that put in health centers because they write proposal projects. So what we're saying is that if a community needs support and they have the people in there, empower the people to get the help. That's all we're saying.
Miranda, can we get you on center? Yeah, thanks. Try and stay on center, because we want people to see you as you're talking, because you're talking real talk. You're talking real talk, and we want them to see you as you're talking, because that's so important as well. So yeah, we're running out of time, but I know you're not running out of gas because you have so much more to say.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we can't stay here forever. But what we will do, we'd like to give you an opportunity to make a closing argument. Is there anything else you want to say first, and then give us a closing argument? Your argument. Anything else you want to add? Then the closing argument.
I really would like to share that I am grateful for this opportunity to share my story. and share the story of the people I would like to represent. I would love to represent. I know there is a lot of people who have high expectations of me and my team and what we can do together to build a better Southwest, St. Elizabeth. And so every single day I look for the opportunities where we think outside of the box. And I say this to say, we can't do the same things over and over and expect a different result. That's my mantra. And so in this political journey, in my aim to represent the people of Southwest, I want to challenge anybody to come on board, help me, help the team, support us in making a difference by doing things differently. So that is my last few lines. And to also to thank you, Doc. Thank you both for allowing me to share the story of Southwest St. Elizabeth with the world.
Wow. Donna, what do you want to say to that? What else can you say?
Oh my gosh. I'm lost for words. The only thing that I can say is that we have a comment here that someone said, I hope Jamaica is listening to this powerful woman. Oh, someone says, wow, goosebumps. So with that, Miranda, I know you are on the right path. And you are going to make changes, and change is going to happen. Because the people want the change, they need the change, they just may not know how to go about getting that change and achieving that change. And I think you representing the people, there's some good possibilities and hope there. So I wish you all the best in your campaign. And I am sure you are going to do great things. And you're going to go even farther in your political career.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me just add my little piece. Miranda, just echoing what Donna said, really appreciate you coming on. This is actually my third conversation with you. I recall interviewing you on this Ecology with Purpose platform, not this show. We had a lengthy interview where we talked about purpose. And I had another conversation with you just last week in Jamaica. And just based on that conversation, I thought that it was appropriate to bring you on this platform for you to say what is on your mind. And you did just that tonight, just as I expected. You know, living in a, and I'm no expert in Jamaican politics. I know nothing about Jamaican politics. But what I will say, I understand a little bit about how human beings operate. And for so many individuals that I'm having conversations with, I have many friends in Jamaica. The voter apathy that exists, the despondency in our citizens, the lack of leadership at all levels, in corporate space, in the political space, in government, there's work to be done, so much work. And that you showed up in the way you have, and you told me this was your calling, this is your purpose, this is what you're here for, meaning this is what you're on earth for. To do is exactly what you're doing now. You know, I'm just gonna say congratulations on the decision that you've made to take on this challenge. But in taking on this challenge, I'm sure you're growing, you're learning, and you're becoming even a better leader every day through the things that you're experiencing and what you've experienced. So all I can say to you is keep on doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. And your passion and love is for your people, and that is so clear. It's not to seek power like too many politicians. They're in it for personal gains. It is obvious that you are doing what you're doing because you want to empower the people of Southwestern St. Elizabeth and Jamaica. So I commend you. I commend you for your work. And it was such a pleasure to listen to you and to hear you speak your truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much.
Donna, you want to take us home?
All right. Wow, I'm telling you, we're almost at the 2-hour marking. So
this is our longest show yet. and by the way, we must bring her back on because we want to get an update.
Yeah. We have to bring her back on.
We want to get an update.
Yeah,
we need an update. We need it bad because with the work she's doing, we're gonna be checking on her. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be, and we gotta encourage her because it's not an easy road, And they say, who feels it knows, right? So I'm sure it's not a cakewalk for her. It's not a walk in the park, but it's a walk she's willing to take. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So again, we commend support. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, like everything else, all great things must come to a pass. So I would like to thank all our viewers who have spent their Monday evening with us. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We hope that the information you received here was definitely, you find it very nourishing for your soul. If you don't know about Jamaica, you've gotten a little bit of insight about Jamaica, but it's also something that, you never know. It may be affecting your community where you are. So even though it may be an island, possibly far, far away from you, it still could be right in your backyard, right? Because politics is politics and human survival is human survival. So knowledge is power. But I would like to say thank you to Miss Miranda for spending your Monday evening with us. We encourage you to continue on the path of living on your purpose and having your passion continue to, guide you and sustain you on your journey in the things that you're wanting to accomplish for your community on a whole. And Doc, it's been a great Monday evening. We had some challenges, but hey, we hung in there and we got through it. So once again, thank you all for joining us. Remember, on Thursday night at 7:30, come back and join us, where you will, of course, get to hear more empowerment from the men on Bridging Generations. So until then, blessings always. Have a great evening.
A collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.